Welcome back to the Sylvester McNutt, the third podcast. Oh, yeah. It's almost 2025. A new year is upon us. And with new years, new months, new weeks, new days, there's often new energy, new ideas, new opportunities. I was talking to a guy yesterday. I was at Whole Foods checking out. I got some broccolini, grapefruit. I bought some chocolate. What else did I get? Butter, grapes. It was a very random grocery list, but it matched with what I already had at the house. So we'll call it the complimentary grocery list. And I had just left the gym. I'm talking with the guy. I can't remember his name. I wish I would have remembered his name. And just, small talking with the clerk. But for me, there's no such thing as small talk. Any opportunity to speak, any opportunity to be heard is a big deal. All right, there's your first lesson of the day right there. And, he did his thing. He's like, hey, how's your day? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, man, I just left the gym. It was phenomenal. I got a great workout in. Now I'm just picking up a few things I need to complete my meal for the day, as well as my breakfast, lunch for tomorrow. And, it's good. And he's like, oh, yeah, I want to get back to the gym. I haven't been to the gym in a few months. I kind of fell off. Life kind of hit me. And, I put my energy and time into some other things. And I was like, okay, well, look, man, like, it's all good, bro. Like, you fell off. It's time to get back. Time to recommit, man. And he's like, yeah, I just don't want to do the whole like new year, new me thing. He's like, I don't like those people. And I was like, hey, man, don't be judgmental of those people. Like this year, you might be one of those people. Like, do your thing. If it takes for the new year for you to get back on the horse, if it takes for the new year for you to get back recommitted, if it takes for the new year for you to find your fire, for you to find some motivation, for you to find an exit or an entrance into this next version, or even just going deeper into the present version of you, like honor that. Honor that, bro. You don't have to shame it. You don't have to beat it up. Honor it. And me saying that to him, I could just see it because I work with people. I work with people every day, with whether it's Mastery Circle, whether it's my coaching clients, whether it's doing events in public, or just raising my own kids. I could just see that little permission I gave him in that moment. I could just see that it lifted him. It gave him like a permission. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't have to shame that or name call that or beat that up, because at the end of the day, like, that is who I am and where I'm at in this moment. And just that little permission, I could feel that it gave him the permission he needed to get back on the horse, because he was expressing to me how he wanted to get back to the gym, how he wanted to start eating right and just taking care of himself. And as I was walking to my car after I paid for my food, I was thinking to myself, like, man, I want to make a podcast about this. My relationship with podcasting has changed over the last few years. Where I've arrived at it now is I want to, speaking for myself, I want to podcast more in this upcoming year. This year for me was a coming out of my shell year, right? And so what I mean by that is last year was a big introversion year. I wanted to go inward. There was inner work that I wanted to do. And so there's this duality where when you have a show, or you post on social or your newsletters, or when you do thing that's like an external facing job, and this goes for all of us. Like when you do something that's an external facing job, sometimes there's seasons of your life where you need to go within, where you need to get to know yourself better, where you need to heal or reorganize or rearrange the way that you're approaching and engaging life. And that's part of the reason why I had to take a big step back from podcasting, especially with podcasting, because you're sharing your thoughts, your ideas, you're sharing about your work and things of that nature. I had to take a step back from that myself, because I had to, like Lauryn Hill says, like, how you gonna win if you ain't right within? And I had to like get right for me. I had to like get right mentally, emotionally, physically. And now that I feel like I've reached a point naturally without forcing it, I've reached a point where I naturally feel a little more extroverted. I feel a little more aligned, sharing, recording, creating. It's like, well, shoot, I'm back now, you know, currently. And I'm going to stay on this theme, but currently, one of the things that's present for me is building my coaching program. And this is not something that I necessarily wanted to do. It's something that I almost was forced to do in a way. I almost was forced to do it because I've always done it, but I've always kind of done it like part time. And then when 2020 came and the pandemic changed everything, one of the things that changed for me is I lost 90% of my business, specifically my book business. My book business was doing so good. So, I mean, elite, especially for being an independently published person at that time. I mean, my books were just, I mean, they were selling like hotcakes, as they say. I don't know if that saying is outdated, but that's a saying I remember from when I was from when I was little. And so when I lost about 90% of that because of the pandemic, because people lost their jobs, a few things changed on my back end as well, which made that career a lot more expensive than it was supposed to be. And it was things that I didn't change. It was things that kind of changed in the pipeline, I guess we'll call it that way. And so when 2020 came and that happened to me, and then my son was born like a week before the pandemic, I'm dealing with these two traumatic experiences on top of each other, losing a big part of my income and then having a kid at the same time. So it was challenging. It was challenging. And it's so cool because I get to look back on it now and I get to be so proud of myself because I figured it out. I figured it out. You know, I figured out this challenging moment. And the consequence of it is it changed the texture of my business. And I went from being the books being like the major priority, which they still are. But then I opened this portal of coaching, something I had been doing, but then coaching, I had to take it more serious. So as a consequence of that, there's two pillars of my coaching program now where I have people who work with me one-on-one and then people who work with me in the mastery circle. And the mastery circle is my group coaching mastermind. So I want to go back to this Saturday. We met just this Saturday in Mastery Circle, and it was easily the most emotional talk that we had all year because I called it the Mastery Circle Awards, but it really was just like a year-end review. And what I did for each person who was in the group was I gave them we could say it was a summary, but calling it a summary just doesn't do justice to the actual experience we had. But what I gave them was feedback, positive feedback on what I observed about them, really making them feel seen and heard. Because obviously as a coach, you have to pay attention, you have to hear, and you have to witness. That's the number one thing you're doing as a coach, as a parent, as a leader, as a friend, as a partner. You never forget that you have to witness your people. You have to witness them. And then at the end of the witnessing, what I gave them was an invitation. Now, a lot of the times in corporate America, they call that like constructive criticism. And it's like, dude, no one wants to hear constructive criticism. All of us want to get better. All of us want to improve. All of us want to, I'm assuming this, like we want to get better. We want to improve. We want to do our jobs the best we can, right? We want to show up for our friends and family the best we can. But just framing it as constructive criticism, it's like, no one wants to receive it that way because we perceive criticism as a negative thing. And even if you say it's constructive, it's like, well, it's constructive to who? Who wants to be criticized, right? So the way I wanted to look at it was like, let's just remove the negative nuance and the negative texture from it so we can make it one of those things where you see it as an opportunity where it's something you can integrate or something you can discard, right? And so that's how I wanted to approach it. And so what I labeled it as was an invitation, right? An invitation, just like you get invited to a party. You don't have to go. You don't have to go. And so for me, that was much lighter and it didn't have any negative connotations with it. And so I gave everybody an invitation. And with that invitation, again, and like the invitation doesn't have to be juiced inside of something negative. It can be juiced inside of something positive. Like I'll give you an example. One of my clients who works with me one-on-one, and she's also a mastery circle, I'll say her name. Her name is Alicia, because this is a positive thing I'm going to share. If it was something potentially negative, I would change the name just so you guys know. But I want Alicia to hear this, and I want everyone else in Mastery Circle to hear this. And of course, I want you guys to hear this. Alicia, for example, she's at the phase of her career where she's already tapped in and going to the next level. She's a business owner, operator, and she's franchising her business. And one of the things that we've talked about is what's required of her to go to the next level. And one of the things that's required of her is that she has hard conversations with people. And she's a sweetheart. She's one of the nicest people. And so that for her, from her like personality, it's hard for her, difficult for her to have these hard conversations. But as a business owner and for the things that she's responsible for, it's necessary, right? So like my invitation to her was understanding and accepting that the person that you have to become to manage and handle the load of who you're becoming in your business, that person has to integrate the hard conversations. And so it was just an invitation, right? That's not negative or positive. It was just an invitation. And, we went round and round and we went to everybody. We went to everybody. Everybody got positive feedback about what I witnessed and what I saw this year from them, what they got through. So many people in this community, I mean, they were with me all year. So I got to see what they fought through. People fought through death, job loss, stress within their relationships. I mean, all the normal things, all the stresses that we go through. But then I got to see them be triumphant in victory. I got to see them be committed. I got to see them overcome things. And so that year-end call was, for me, it was a deeply emotional call because I got to give my clients all this feedback and all this encouragement and all this energy and this acknowledgement, right? And that's what we need as humans. We need that acknowledgement. So it felt so good to be inside the Mastery Circle call this past Saturday and just give them that acknowledgement. Now, where do we go from here? So on the 28th, we're going to be doing what's called the big board. And this is inside the Mastery Circle. Now, the big board, this is one of my favorite exercises that exists. You can't see my whiteboard behind me, but I have a whiteboard over here on my right shoulder. And on it right now, it says 2025 big board. And so I too am about to start this project. Now I want to share with you some of the inner workings of this. So it's something that you can use. All right. Now, first and foremost, if you would like to join Mastery Circle, go to sylvestermcnutt.net/mastery-circle. If you don't want to type all that in, just go to my website, sylvestermcnutt.net. You can find it there. It says Mastery Circle. Membership is $97 a month. We meet twice a month. So every other 2 weeks, we meet for about an hour, sometimes an hour and 15. We meet every Saturday at 9 a.m. MST. When you join, you also get access to a few of my courses. I think you get access to 4 of my courses. My courses on boundaries and people pleasing. You get my courses on overthinking. You get my courses on living a more intentional life. And then you get another course I did on balance, like creating balance within your life. Everything I do is about you. Like I'm here to serve you, right? So I want to serve you today and talk to you about the big board. And this is just going to be a preview. So give me 5 more minutes. I'll explain it in 5 minutes and we'll wrap there. That'll give us a good 18-20 minute chat, which would be perfect for today. And so last December, I met this woman named Jamie. I was at a retreat in Peru and was talking with Jamie, and I'm like, so what are you up to, this year? What's it going to be like for you? And I didn't know what I was getting myself into because she explained to me her whole year. I'm going to be here. I'm going to do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll release this. I'll sell this. I'll visit this person. She went through the whole year. And I found myself highly impressed by this. And I was like, how did you know this? How do you know what you're doing for the whole year? And she's like, yeah, I have the whole year planned out. And I was like, oh, do you really now? Now, when I came back home, it was about it's like December 17th right now. It was close to the same date last year. It was about December 18th, 17th. It was about a week before Christmas. And I remember saying to myself, all right, I met Jamie for a reason. Like I met her for a reason. It's potentially to be inspired by her, by the fact that she told me she was going to plan out her whole year and engage her whole year maybe I should do the same thing. And so I did. I took the invitation that was given to me last December and I planned out, structured, organized my whole year. And I'm not gonna BS you. When I started the year, I was a little apprehensive about it because I'm thinking to myself, how can you plan the whole year? You don't even know what's going to happen. All right. And there's truth in that. You don't know what's going to happen. And that's not what you're necessarily focused on. Where you're focused on when you're doing a big board. And the big board name, I named it that. I named it that because let me get there. Hold on. So let me pause that and let me go back. Um, you're right. You don't know what's going to happen in a year. But one of the things that I believe in, I wrote about this in my book, Live the Life You Deserve, is that using the law of attraction, you can attract a lot of the things that will happen to you in the year by living in alignment with a particular lifestyle or with some particular habits and goals or with some particular people or environments. You can basically predict what's going to happen in the year. And for me, that was such a revelation. I'm like, wow, like, you're right. I can't control every element that will happen in a year, but I can do my best to live in alignment with what I want to create. All right. So let's move to the big board. I named it the big board because I don't like asking people simply, what are your goals? What are your dreams? Because to me, though that question, while pertinent and important, doesn't suffice for the totality of like the texture of the human experience. If I just say, what are your goals? And it's like, well, I mean, goals how? Goals where? With what part of my life? Are you talking business? Are you talking about fitness? Are you talking wellness? Are you talking family, relational? Like there's so many different elements. And so that's when I was realizing, like, okay, as I was doing this exercise last year, I was like, this needs more nuance. It needs a better language. I can't just write my goals for 2025. Like that's to me, that just doesn't give enough like fluctuation for the totality of life. So that's when I figured it out. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna write a big board, just a board of all the big things that I think are important to me and to my life. And that's when I said it like that, I was like the big board, like the big things in my life. I'm just gonna put them all on a board. And like I do have this whiteboard behind me, like I said. So when I was I was in my office and I'm looking at the whiteboard, I'm like, man, this is a big board. I'm just gonna put everything on this big board. That's literally how it came about, right? Okay. So from there, what you want to do with the big board is you want to, and there's a bunch of different questions you can ask yourself that will lead you into this exercise. And it's different for every person. And that's one of the things that I teach inside the mastery circle is all of our big boards will look differently and they should look differently because we're all unique. Every one of us, everybody who can hear this, like we're all unique. And so the key here is just to honor your path, your unique life path. I write about that in my book, Live the Life You Deserve. You just have to honor your life. You can't live life like another person. Maybe there's some things you can borrow from them, observe, be inspired by, copy that work. But maybe there's some things you can't. Maybe there's some things you do have to be original with and that you have to take risk with and that you have to be aligned with. All right. Two things can be true. Oh man, there's nothing like some good tea. Good tea. Had a cold the other day. My boy is so sick right now. And I think he brought home the cold, that was going around school. So I'm like on the back end of that. I feel a lot better. I may sound like I have a cold. Um, if I do, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'm feeling a lot better. My boy's feeling sick right now. Daisy's feeling sick right now. And I don't like that. I don't like it, but we're getting through it. All right, big board. So once you commit to the big board, once you commit to doing it, the very first thing that happens is your brain is a goal-seeking device. So giving yourself goals and things to focus on, things to put your energy on, it already makes your life better. Because there's some goal-seeking devices that your brain is focused on that they're not good for you. Right? They're not good for you. And so the good thing with the big board is you're being intentional about, okay, this is where I want to focus my brain energy. I want to focus it on my marriage, my wealth, right? My healing, my wellness, my relationship with my father, my relationship with my mother, getting outside more, going for a walk, getting in the pool, prayer, whatever the thing may be. So that's the very first step is like, what do I want to focus on? That's the question. What do I want to focus on? Do I want to focus on how I'm eating, how I'm sleeping, how I'm stretching? All right. So you get to put that on there. The other elements of the big board is that you're not putting a million things on there, right? So you'll pick, let's just say 4 to 6 different pillars of your life, and then 2 to 3, let's just say bullet points for each thing. So for example, your first box of your big board could be, it's a new year. Let's just say money. I think money is a really good one to start at the new year. Your relationship with money. I don't know why. It just feels like a good one. So let's say money. So a lot of the times when people make goals, they say things like, "I want to make more money. I want to make more money." And those goals never happen. The reason they never happen is because they're not specific. There's no energy behind them. I want to make more money. That's like mostly everybody does. Like you have to be more specific, more detailed. Your brain needs the detail. So a realistic goal, you would be like, in the first 3 months of the year, I want to make an extra $1,200 on top of my salary. All right. Most people who hear this are gonna have a salary. So I want to make an extra 1,200 bucks on top of my salary. Maybe you're in a career that does that. Maybe that means there's something you pick up on the side. Maybe you sell something. Maybe you sell something in your house, right? There's a plenty of ways to go about that. But what it is it's a specific target. I want to make $1,200 more by the first 3 months of the year. It's a specific target. There's a specific deadline. That goal for you has a lot more texture. So you can put that on the big board and that will most likely come true. The next one you could put, right? You wouldn't want to put like, oh, I want to save more money. You want to be specific. So you will want to say something like, I want a 20% savings rate of all my income for the first 3 months of the year. So now you get paid $1,000, you put 200 in your savings. You get paid $10,000, you put 2,000 in your savings, right? You get paid $100,000, you're putting 20,000 in your savings, right? So there's more texture there. There's more energy behind it. There's more specificity there. Then the last thing you could put on the big board is say, I'm just making this up, right? Like you could put something like, I will not operate from scarcity mindset. I will operate from abundance mindset, right? And that's not a specific goal. That's not a thing. That's more or less of a realignment of the mindset, of the relationship, of the culture required when we're talking about your money relationship. And that's how a big board operates. It can be goals, it could be ideas, it could be like there's nuance in the big board. And so that pillar right there, that could just be your pillar called money relationship or my money life, or it could just say money, right? It could just say finances. You could be boring, you could be exciting. You could say my money relationship or my abundant relationship, right? And then what we would do is we would do that for the first 4 to 6 most prominent pillars for us. And now with this, as a big board, what happens is you need to put this in a place where you're either going to see it. And now I'm fast forwarding. I'm talking about execution now. You need to put this in a place where you're going to see it, where you can review it, where you can read it aloud, or where you can write about it. So what I like to do is I like to write it in my journal. And then when I like to journal every day. So then that way I can open my journal and I can read my big board. And then as I read certain pieces of my big board at the top of my daily journaling, I can now bring that over. So for example, let's just roll with the example we got, money relationship. Let's just call it the money relationship. And let's just say I want to save 20% of my income. So let's say January goes by and we get to February. I'm in February, right? In January, I save 20% of my income. Good job. Now that big board continues, like that same goal and dream can continue into February. So now in February 1, when I'm in my notebook, I can write, all right, I'm the type of person who saves 20% of his income. right? You can write that as an affirmation. I'm the type of person who saves 20% of his income. Guess what? You do it again in January. Now, before you know it, you're in April and you've saved 20% of your income. And you can see where I'm going with this. This is how the big board works, because you're putting it in a place where you can see it, where you can read it. You can put it in your journal where you have to write about it. You can put it in your Bible if you're studying. You can put it in another book. You can paste it out on a wall, get out a piece of paper. There's so many different ways to integrate it into your life so you can be reminded of, okay, this is the type of life that I'm living. These are my standards. These are my focal points. This is where I'm putting my energy. And all this does for you is give you more energy for what you want, for what you need, for what you're living in alignment with. And that's all this big board does, right? There's two types of people in life. There's those people who just float, and there's nothing wrong with floating because that is necessary at times. And then there's people who put structure around things. And when you put structure around things, that's when you're able to also bring leadership. That's when you're able to bring execution. That's when you're able to get things done because there's a structure in place. There's a culture in place. There's an understanding in place. There's a rhythm in place. There's a functionality to your life. And that's why I love this big board exercise. So with that being said, that's just a simple introduction. When I meet with Mastery Circle on the 28th, we're gonna go deep into this. We'll be on the call for about an hour, and we're gonna go through all the details, all the nuance. Everybody's gonna get their own specific big board that's specific to them and their life. I'm excited about the opportunity to show up and serve and teach one of this exercise because this is one of my favorites. It literally changed my life, and I know that the people I've done it with who have executed it supported their life as well. So with that being said, if you're like, hey, I like this new energy, Sylvester, I like this new energy, I want to be a part of it. If you'd like to join the community, our hearts are open, our arms are open. Details on the community, it's $97 a month. We meet every 2 weeks, every Saturday at 9 a.m. MST. We meet for about an hour online on our Zoom. When you sign up, you do get all the calls. We've been meeting for over 2 years. So you'll get all the calls. And then I think I have 4 different courses that you also get as a bonus added in to your membership. On top of that, we also have a group chat. Now, I love this group chat because it's positive energy, it's positive reinforcement. There's a bunch of givers in there. There's a bunch of lovers in there. We're supporting each other. We're encouraging each other. We're reminding each other of our greatness. And it truly is. I mean, for $97, everything that you're getting, the value is so much higher. The courses themselves are like $300. You're getting that included. Plus, you're getting the 2 talks. Plus, you're getting the community. Plus, you're getting access to me, my energy, my encouragement. I never miss one. Since we started this, I've never missed one. I always show up. I'm holding that space. I'm calling people into their greatness, helping people heal, helping people get through, get over, get around wounds, blockages, stoppages, turbulence. And most importantly, just helping people live the life they deserve. That's my mission. That's why my last book is called Live the Life You Deserve. That is my mission. That is what I'm dedicated to, is helping people realize that regardless of the cards that they've been dealt or what's in their plate or not on their plate, it's like, look, you still can live the life that you deserve. And it's getting clear on what does that mean? What does that mean for you? Not for me. I can't tell you what it means to live the life you deserve for me as you. I can only ask you and push you and encourage you to live the life you deserve for you, because that's who you're living for. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're here on the YouTube, I appreciate everybody over on the YouTube. For all my people listening on the podcast, I appreciate you so much. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and drop a comment, hit a like. That stuff is much needed for the algorithm. It shows the algorithm that you love this content. If you are listening on the podcast, Apple or Spotify, please leave me a review. I haven't asked for a review in a while. Please leave me a review. Let people know that you're still rocking with this show. You're rocking with me. You're rocking with the energy, the ideas for what we're bringing. Let me know that you need more episodes. Scream at me, yell at me, leave a review. Tell me you need more episodes. You need me back. You need this energy. My name is Sylvester McNutt III. I am the author of 10 books. My most recent book is called Live the Life You Deserve, published by Hay House, published by Penguin Random House. Go get that book on Amazon. If you love audio, go get the Audible book. I did the Audible book. I did it. I put the bass in my voice and I was reading the book like this. I put that audiobook voice on and gave you over 8 hours of content reminding you of how to live the life that you can deserve, putting nothing but positive energy and positive affirmations into the book to help you heal, to help you live in alignment, to help you laugh. Go get the book. Thank you guys so much for your time, your energy, your presence. My name is Sylvester McNutt III, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Sylvester McNutt III podcast. Bye-bye.